Today is June the 5th, 2014. My name is Tanya Finchum, along with Alex Bishop. We're with Oklahoma State University, and today we're in Oklahoma City to speak with Georgia Anderson. And this is part of our Oklahoma 100-Year Life project, so thank you for having us today.
Thank you.
Let's start with having you tell us when and where you were born.
Born 1914. Calera, Oklahoma. C-A-L-E-R-A, Calera. Little town south of Durant.
Okay. And what month?
May the 12th.
So you've had a recent birthday.
Yes.
Well, happy birthday a little late.
Thank you.
What did your parents do for a living?
Farm. Back then, that was everybody farmed. Just about everybody farmed. When you finished high school, you couldn't get a job. I thought I could, but I didn't.
And what did they farm?
Row crop.
And did you have brothers and sisters?
5 brothers and 4 sisters.
Big family.
Yes.
And where were you in the order?
In the middle. Very middle.
Did you have chores?
Oh, yes.
What were a few of yours?
Pardon?
What were a few of yours?
Together the eggs in the afternoon, to bring in the wood. There was no electricity. Fill the lamps with oil. Keep the house. And I was the one that kept the house going. The others would shun, and I'd have to pick them up. I was the one that worked. I was always prepared.
Help your mother in the kitchen?
No, I worked in the field.
In the field.
I don't know how to cook.
How about running water?
We drew the water out of the well.
Well, can you describe the house you grew up in?
To begin with, we were born in all 10 of us children were born in a 4-room house. We were crowded. When I was in the 5th grade, my daddy could see what was going on. I couldn't go to school. I had to walk. My first day of school, I had to walk 3 miles. I was a little fat dumpling, and I couldn't keep up. So Daddy saw what was going on. It was the beginning of the Depression, and we moved from Calera to east of Durant in a little town called Blue. Well, there's a river that runs across Oklahoma. It's called the Blue River. Empties into the Red River. And we moved into a big house. Upstairs, downstairs. 2 rooms upstairs, 6 rooms downstairs. And I loved that old house. It was just an old house. We had a big barn. A big barn. We had granaries, chicken houses, pig pens, everything that goes with the farm. We rented our house. We didn't buy the house. We rented the house from the judge of Bryan County.
Well, when you moved into the bigger house, did he change jobs? Your father?
No.
Still
No,
farm?
no, back in those days, honey, it was all farm. That's why I'm healthy, I think. Because Daddy was Daddy was a good farmer, and we worked, all of us. There wasn't a lazy one in the bunch. And if we could have gotten paid for what we did, we'd be millionaires today. I remember Daddy bought back in those days, we didn't have a Cadillac. Well, the Cadillac of my days was
Only thing I can think of is Model T, but that's probably not right either.
No, it's driven by horses. Surrey.
Oh, okay.
Surrey. Finchum, the top. I remember it had 3 seats in front, in the middle seat, and in the back seat. Most of us could ride. I don't think all 12 of us ever went anywhere together because there was no room.
It would take a while to get there too, I guess.
Yes. But back in those days it was slow. Today it's so fast that I can't even keep up with the days. But back then it was, you were relaxed. it's a happy life. It was hard, but it was happy. We didn't know anything. We didn't know better.
Well, what would be some things you would do for fun?
Jump the rope, play jacks, seesaw, swing. That's it.
What was the name of your elementary school?
Blue High School.
What year did you graduate?
35 maybe.
Okay.
It's a long time to remember.
Did you have a favorite subject?
Psychology. I love psychology. We didn't have typing in our little school. When I left, my sister, who graduated the next year, she learned typing. I didn't. And I always wanted, I thought if I could just learn to type, I could get me a job anywhere. I could work for the President of the United States if I wanted to. And that was my goal when I went to college, was to learn to type. And I loved it, and I learned it well, and I could type well. I took shorthand and typing. When I graduated, there was no jobs for that skill. When I finished school at Murray School in Tishomingo, it was a 2-year college. I went to Southeastern. I decided that the only thing for a girl to do then was to teach school. And before I graduated, I got a job teaching school in a little 2-room school near Idabel, Oklahoma. A 2-teacher school. I loved the old fellow that I taught with. I loved the school. I only had 13 students. I had one little boy in the 4th grade, and he didn't care anything about reading or writing. All he wanted was his geography book. So every once in a while I'd have time. We'd sit down with that geography book, and he would ask questions. He wanted to know about this and that, and I could help him.
What was the name of that school?
Pollard.
Pollard.
Pollard. Pollard. It's a little two-room school.
And what would the children bring for lunch?
You know, that was the beginning of a handout from the government. And I remember we would have oatmeal. And I had a little burner at school, and we would fix oatmeal for our lunch. I usually ate with them. I could have gone home, the people I stayed with, and ate, but she wasn't much of a cook either. She said, she didn't want to keep me to begin with. She looked at my red hair, and she said, I'm not keeping school teachers anymore. And I thought, well, I've looked everywhere else. I don't have any place else to stay. I either stay there or I don't know. I just don't know. Finally, she said, I'll keep you 1 week. If you're not too feisty and demanding, you either stay or you don't. So, well, I knew I had a job. I knew I had a place to stay then because I'm not particular. I ate what she cooked, which wasn't much. I learned to like beans and rice. I love it. Today I love beans and rice. So I could walk up a little sandy road about 2 blocks to school. And I walked every day. I hadn't been there very long until the little lady that got me my job to begin with, she said, Georgia, tomorrow, well, I had just gotten paid. I took a job, finished a job for another little girl that back then you didn't, if you got married, you were out. You couldn't teach and be married. That was the rule back then. 100 years.
Or if you did, you kept it quiet?
Pardon?
If you got married, you kept it a secret?
And it leaked out. And they fired her overnight. And the board down there said to this friend of mine that we bonded when we went to school together. And she had a school down there. Not little, there were little scattered schools in the woods. And she says, she told the school board, she says, I can have you a teacher by Monday morning. She came to Durant, where I was enrolled in my senior year at college. And she says, George, I'm taking you home with me. You have a school Monday morning. I said, no, I'm not going. I'm going to finish here in about 3 or 4 more months, and I'll have my degree, and then I'll look for me a school. She says, that's not the way it works. She says, there's 100 teachers for every position. Says, if you could teach these 3 months, finish out for this school, we all knew each other down there. We all went to school at Southeastern together, and we knew each other. So, back, she said, well, tomorrow we're having, it was on a Saturday, we're having a county teachers meeting. I said, I can't go, I don't have anything to wear. And she says, well, I had just gotten paid. The little girl that I took her place, she gave me $35, a 20, a 10, and a 5. The first paper money I'd ever seen. Well, that's way back. She says, well, she saw the money in my hand. I had tears in my eyes because I thought, well, I've earned that money. That's mine. She said, I'll come by early in the morning, Saturday morning. We're going to Idabel. The school was 3 miles from Idabel. And we'll go in and see what we can buy for you to wear to the teachers' meeting. We found a real nice dress. It wasn't cotton. Real nice dress. Pair of shoes. And a purse, all to match. For, well, I had, the lady I said was going to charge me $10 a month. I had enough left to pay her for the 2 weeks. And I was broke.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to the meeting. I bought those 3 things for $30 some odd dollars. And $3.50 to pay her for my rent.
And was that for a whole year's? No, it was for 3 months. Work. 3 months work.
Well, 3.5 months.
So did you finish school then?
Yes, in the summer, because when I didn't get my school back that year, I thought they told me I could have it back. When I'm back to the lady that told me she might keep me awake and she might not keep me on. We fell in love with each other. I just loved that lady. It's an older lady and a man, and next door was her daughter, lived next door. We just loved each other. When I told her I had my school back, she was just thrilled to death. We just loved each other. But I had to go home. At the end of school, we had to smooch and love, and I had to go back home. And Daddy says, and so I didn't have school, and I was disappointed. Daddy says, came to me one day and he said, Georgia, I have you a school. No, I says, I have you an interview for next year for school. It's a little school in Kennefic. Kennefic. I'd never heard of the place. Daddy hadn't either. We didn't know where it was. He says, Daddy says, you go. Because he had been a fellow that was looking for a first grade teacher. And he says, Georgia, go and look and see if you can get the school. Well, the fellow he talked to in Durant that afternoon is Market Square. That's where farmers hung out. Market Square in Durant. And this Daddy and this other, they were both in the school. Daddy was on the school board at Boo, where I lived. And the other man was on the school board from Kennefic. And he says, now without seeing your daughter, he says, she has my vote. And we'll have her to come out, and we'll find the other 2 board members, and if we all agree, you can have this job. It was just what I wanted. It was the first and second grade. So I went out and found them. They signed my contract. And I taught there the next 5 or 6 years. I love teaching. I love to teach. I don't know something I can't wait to tell somebody. And I had sisters, younger sisters and brothers at home. I was comfortable in the schoolroom. I loved it. I just loved it. When I went to school, probably when you went to school, you learned to read by phonics. You can't read any other way. Some in Washington changed. You don't read by phonics. You don't learn to read by phonics anymore. This is from Washington. The kids, you learn to read by sight. Mother made a picture. They had to remember the picture. That's no way to teach school, to teach reading. No way. I couldn't teach. I just couldn't. My kids were not learning to read. You just can't. You just can't teach that way. You have to know when I went to school, you learn your ABCs and what they sounded like. They said they have a sound. And so I talked to my principal. I said, my kids are not learning to read, and I'm not doing my job, because when Johnny comes home and he's not reading, they blame me, which is true. I said, I'm gonna have to change jobs. So I came to Oklahoma City, where my sister was working at Tinkerfield, and she says, why don't you stay up here? Don't go back and try to teach school anymore. You're disappointed. And I was, because I love teaching. And I worked with the little kids. We had fun. And I applied to Tinkerfield. And in my teaching background, they hired me as an instructor. I thought, well, I'll take the job because they don't have to read. And they were older people, older than me. And so I took the job. I had free range of this field. I could jump in a little cart, go anywhere I wanted to over the field and learn this and that. So people coming in for the first time for an interview, I could give them a good interview. And I did. I loved it. I loved that job. But it didn't last very long. They discontinued the school I guess I was there about a year and a half. And they discontinued the school. They decided I guess they decided they didn't need it. They discontinued altogether. None of us. All of us had to go find and my boss says, his name is Graves. He says, Georgia, you know the field pretty good. He says, we're not firing you, but you go find, where do you think you'd like to work? And I thought, well, supply. I chose supply to teach, to work. And I loved it. I loved it. I remember the morning I walked in, just as the supply, where I was going to work, or I thought I wanted to work, or where I wanted to work. I walked down that long hall to the front desk where Captain Carter was the boss. He said, oh, you're hired, because my name was Carter. Oh, he said, you're hired. As I walked in the back, or the side door rather, I saw a lady that was the loveliest lady I'd ever met, I'd ever seen. And I said, to myself, I said, I want to work for her. She brought me all the way back down the hall. There wasn't a hall, it was an aisle, down the aisle, and I worked for her. sweetest lady I think I ever knew, and her name was Georgia Smith. So, and I loved her. I just loved her. We kind of bonded. She I don't know. We just that's when I learned looks is skin deep. It's inside you look for, and not the outside. Throughout my life from then on, it was the inside, not the outside, that counts. Because she was.
Was that in the 40s or 50s when you were there?
Early 30s.
30s, okay.
I went to Tinkerville. I had 2 runs at Tinkerville because I married. And I was out for 9 months. I got married, got pregnant, and back then, if you got pregnant, you didn't work. I worked 5 months, and when I began to,
Show.
I quit. I checked out. They said, "Well, why don't you take a leave of absence and come back?" And my husband said, "No, you check out," because he was making good money, and he could afford the family. So I was out 9 years. When my little boy he was a little Down syndrome boy. A different turn in my life. So all of a sudden, this is my life story. All of a sudden, Clyde got fired. Clyde is my husband. He got fired for a selfish reason. Nothing he did wrong. Not a thing. His boss, his immediate boss in the city, they couldn't figure it out. And the big boss, I think we are a big boss in Houston. We had he had a big boss in Texas, Dallas, Texas. He came out and gave Clyde this pink slip. No reason. Gave him 3 months pay, and he was out. He came out one day at lunchtime, and I said, "Clyde, why are you home?" Because he usually came home at 5, and he was home during lunch. And he said, "Georgia got fired." I said, "I got fired." Well, that hit me in the stomach. From that day until this one, I've had stomach trouble. That just hit me in the stomach. He doesn't have a job. He knew I was qualified to work, and knew I could work. We put a little boy in Enid school with the little boys. He's with the same disability. He loved it. We didn't. It wasn't a bad thing. It was a good thing that happened. And I knew I had to go back to work. So I applied at this capital. I thought, well, I'll do. I knew I wouldn't have to work. Make the living. It was his job. I applied at the capital. I was going to learn how to do taxes. That's just 6 months of the year. And I thought, boy, 6 months and I won't be working. They were going to hire me. They went down to John A. Brown. They're not in anymore. They were going to hire me in the office to do, I don't know, some kind of paperwork. Then I had been doing substitute teaching along at where we lived. It wasn't more acres, but we were in a neighborhood, and it was, can't think of the name of the school where I did substitute teaching. I didn't like it, because I teach the 4th grade, and I didn't like the 4th grade. So, well, I had 4 jobs. I had 3 jobs promised me, and I said, "Clyde, I don't know which one to take." He said, "Well, honey, if you're going to work away from home for 8 hours a day, work where you make the most money." And he says, "I believe you used to work at Tinkerville. Why don't you go out there and apply?" For the second time, I did. I didn't put them there. I just put, "I want to be reinstated." So that's all I put. And I went to work immediately back in No, I was doing timekeeping to begin with. I didn't like it because they're responsible for somebody else's check. And I thought, boy, if I flub up, I'm out of here. So I was going to take another. I was going to get promoted into timekeeping, I guess. That's just the name of it. And one of the guys, I was going to take his place. He had a surgery. I think it was too much calcium around his heart, and he was going to have to quit. See, he says, George, I want you to take my place. It would be a promotion for you. So he was showing me how to do his work. He was
Oh, you're fine.
so.
And how long did you stay at Tinker at that time?
All in all, I worked 21 years. 23.
Were you there when World War II was over?
Yes. I came to the city in 41, when the beginning of the war.
You remember much about those days? What would you do for fun in those days?
Dance
Dance.
7 nights a week.
Wow.
I loved to dance. But when I came to the city, it was full of servicemen. And they were coming in town to visit, have fun, to break the monotony of the day, I guess. And I was staying with my sister. I moved in with my sister and her roommate. I mean, 3 of us in the room. There was only one bed, so I got the couch. I slept on the couch. Just fine. It was fine. It was just fine. And they were going to go down to the corner that night after I'd been there about a week and drink and meet the boys, and they were coming in to drink beer, talk, laugh, have fun. I said, I'm not going, I don't want to go, I don't drink beer, and I'm not going. Well, they begged me to go, and I had to go. It was just because I love my sister. I thought, what she can do, I can do. So I went down to the corner with them. We just walked down the street to the corner, and there was just a bunch of guys in there talking, drinking beer, that's all. And they ordered their beer, and I said, I'll take a Coke. We don't, the waiter said, we don't serve Cokes. Well, one of the guys says, give her a beer. I tasted it for my first time. I didn't like it. Soon after that, they were going to go dancing at the Screven Tower Hotel. I'd never danced. I'd never really danced. And I said, well, I'm not going. I don't know how to dance. They said, yeah, you're going. My sister said, yeah, you're going with us. Says, if you're going to stay here in the city with us, you're going to learn a different life. Well, we got ready and we went. I thought, well, I'll go if they insist. I'll go. I'll get me a table and I'll sit over in the corner. I'll drink me a Coke while and I'll watch the Stan Kenton and his band were playing at the Screven Tower, 3rd floor. I never forget that place. So little sailor came over. All 4 of us walked in. Me and my sister and the 2 girls. They were sisters. They were Assyrians and they were beautiful girls, popular girls. They all got, the boys came over and they danced. And one asked me, I said, I don't know how to dance. Thank you, I'll just sit here. He and my sister pushed me. She says, told the little boy, said, she can dance. And she pushed me. And he caught me. So we pretended to dance all afternoon. He wouldn't let me sit down. He said, you have good rhythm, and I know you can learn. I'll teach you. So I enjoyed the evening. From then on, it was a different life. I went dancing 7 nights a week. We had to go to work at 6:15 in the morning. Yeah. And I was always on time. And I've never, all my life, all the jobs I've ever had, I've never been late. Never been a minute late.
Was it ballroom type dancing?
Oh, yes.
Ballroom?
Oh, yes. Well, they had jitterbug too, but I usually set them out. I could do the steps, but I didn't like it. I love the slow evening gown, high heels, slow dance. I met a fellow from Chicago. He was a staff sergeant. His profession was, he had a dance studio. He was teaching dancing. And he said, everybody I'd ever danced with, he said, you have rhythm. And he said, I'd like to teach you. And he was a teacher. He was a teacher. And I loved to dance, and I danced with him. And I learned the tango, to jitterbug, to rumba, all of them. I loved to dance.
Did you get to continue that when you got married?
No, I married him. You want to know about how I got married?
Sure.
Well, when I left high school, I could have married the little boy I was going with. My daddy said to me, George, if you're going to marry this boy you've been going with, he says, I think you are. He said, you're going to crawl to the fence. We had a cotton patch. He said, you're going to crawl to the fence. And you'll pick cotton in his field. He says, if that's what you want to do the rest of your life, I have cotton here for you to pick. You don't have to marry. Because he was just a high school boy. And I knew that. So I kept telling him he wanted me to marry. And I said, not now, someday, but not now. Because we didn't have any place, no money, no apartment, no place to live. And I wanted to live with my people. And I wanted to live with his people. That's what my sister did, but not me. So then I started my education. I got a job. I was making money. He thought for sure we'd get married then. Not now, I told him, but one day I will, but not now. I was working at Tinkerfield at the time. My shipping clerk out in the warehouse said, George, I have a buddy overseas. He says, if he writes to you, would you write to him? I said, yes. He wrote. I answered. We did that for about 1.5 years. I didn't have anything to say. He didn't have anything to say. I signed my name with shorthand. He wrote back in Spanish. I can read his and he can read mine. Talk about that later. When he got home, when we was discharged, we got home, he called me up. We made a date for Saturday night, with his buddy that introduced us to begin with. I had never met Clyde. We had just been writing to each other. He hesitated to go upstairs to get me that night. I said, well, why, Clyde? And later I asked him. He said, well, I didn't know what to say to a school teacher. So we went down to the four of us went dancing out at north at a big dance hall to Guy Lombardo dance band. He was a good dancer, fair. He sang in my ears. The most beautiful sound I'd ever heard in my life. He had a good voice. When he left me that night, I thought, well, we had a good time. And I said, he was a man. He wasn't a boy, he was a man. I thought. So he told me goodbye and he left. I said to myself, that man would make somebody a good husband. I wish it could be me. Never dreaming that it could ever be me. Never, never. The next Saturday night, he said, will you marry me? My mind froze. I couldn't say anything. I thought, this is what I want. Why can't I say yes? I couldn't say yes. He says, is there someone else? I was standing there with mine, looking at him. He says, is there somebody else? I put both fingers behind me like this, and I said, no. Finally, I said, well, God, I don't know you, you don't know me. I said, could you wait a while? He says, yes. I'll give you a week. So we met again. The answer was yes, real quick. Before I said anything else, real quick. He says, and this is why this is why I thought he was a man rather than a boy. He says, now, George, we can't get married right now. I am not established in a good job. I thought, well, that's smart. I didn't want to get married then anyway. So we kept seeing each other occasionally. He came home in time to have Thanksgiving dinner with his mom and dad. That was in November. The next September we were married. I said, well, I get off a day of work, Labor Day. I'll have a day off. We'll get married then. That was fine with him and fine with me. He proved to be one of the smartest men when he joined the service, he said, his mom said, well, he was a second year of college. So he's a law and history major. And she says, why do you want to quit school and join the service? He says, I don't want to be in the Army. I don't want to dig a ditch and be dirty. And he said, I want the water. He said, I want to be on the water. If I join, I can pick what I want. If they draft me, and he says that they will, because it was at the right age. So he chose to be a CD. He chose to be a CB.
CB, maybe.
They was there 4 years. We had a good life.
What year did you get married?
I was 29, he was 30. I don't know the year.
In the early 40s? And you were married for how many before?
37. Your dad was sudden heart attack. And diabetes. He died when he was 62. Or 61.
A long time.
No story. Your turn.
No. Well, at any point did you realize or think you would live to be 100?
Oh, no. No. My family all died young. Mama died at 61. I think Daddy lived to be 82. No, our family, even my aunts and uncles, and they all died young. I don't have anyone left, except nieces and great nieces.
Well, how did you celebrate when you turned 100? What did you do to celebrate?
Oh, they had a lovely party here for me. This is a lovely place to live. A lovely, lovely place to live.
How long have you been here?
I'll be here 11 years in October 16th.
Well, when you reach 99, you think, oh, one more year, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I think it'll be here next year. My health has been fair to good.
What would you think your secret is to longevity then? Do you have an opinion on that?
Oh, do all you can as long as you can.
Okay.
I mean, a busy life is a happy life, a good life. I'm not lazy. I still do my laundry. I'm 100. They say, well, George, you get around just real well, but it's hard. It's hard for me not to get around.
Is that the biggest challenge to being 100?
Yes. You slow down. You fade out. You just fade out. Things are not. It's hard. It's really hard. I don't want to be 101, but I don't have a choice.
Did you give up driving when you moved in here?
Yes, Charles Johnson brought me in here, and he said, you don't need a car. He said, we have a limo to take you anywhere you want to go, anytime you want to go. So I sold my car, practically gave it away to my step-grandson.
You said that you don't want to live to be 101 and that you fade out. Is there anything good about being 100?
No, sir. No, sir.
Playing bingo and winning.
Well, I love my life now. I love right now. Tomorrow, I don't know. We don't know what tomorrow brings.
Sure. Oh, what's a typical day for you? When do you wake up? What do you do? When do you go to bed? What's a typical day for you at 100? What's it like?
Oh, we have an itinerary to go by. They give us a little weekly. It gives you your meals for the week and what you're going to do that week. If there's any games to play, I love games. Any kind. This afternoon at 1 o'clock, we're going to play bunco with dice. You throw it. You ever play it? Nothing to it. Nothing to it. The games that play here, there's nothing to it. When I first came here, we were Charles is now this lady here. She says, on the hall I do. We'll guide you if you needed anything. Want to know where things are? I didn't ask, and she didn't guide me. I ventured out to the dining room and back. Next day I went to the laundry and a little bit more, and I went back. And I found my way around. No one ever told me anything. And so I was behind, the first morning I was here, I was behind two ladies, and they said, I heard them say, we're going to play chicken foot. I said, I know how to play chicken foot. I followed them. They came down here to the activity center, and we all played chicken foot.
What's chicken foot? I
We
have
play
no
with dominoes. There's nothing to it, honey. You just, if there's a 5 out there and you have a 5, you play a 5 against a 5.
That's chicken foot.
Nothing to it. Nothing to it. And then we branched out. There's 8 of us around the table, and I said, no, that's too many. A little guy came in late, and he says, now I'm going to play. I said, Harold, you don't have room. There's not room for you. And he says, but I'm going to play. He said, behind me, and he got his card, he got his dominoes, and he played. That's too many. So the next morning, I thought, I brought my sketbook cards down, and I thought, I'm going to see if he'll place. I can take him and another lady that I like very well. The 3 of us, I said, well, if the 3 of us come in here, and I'll show you how to play sketbook. Nothing to it, nothing, and I'll do it. They didn't want to go. I said, if you can count from 1 to 13, you can play. They could count to 13, so we all came in here and I told them how to play. Well, I was the one that started skip-ball, S-K-I-P. Bill, skip-ball. They liked it. Pretty soon everybody was playing skip-ball. And it says Chickenfoot. They were playing skip-ball. Then from there we graduated to Back Alley Bridge. Back Alley Bridge. It's a good game. It's a thought game. Then we played Rummy Cube. Now, if you want to use your mind, it's a think game, and you have to watch the board. You have to remember. It's a good exercise for your mind. The best, one of the best. So we play that once in a while. They don't want to play it because you better be alert. I told you, watch the board. Yes.
And what was the name of it?
Rummy Cube.
Rummy?
Rummykub. Rummy Cube. I love it. I love it. I whether I win or not, I love to play games whether I win or not. I play to win. I'm not going to give the game away. But if I don't win, I don't win.
That's from growing up with a family of 10 brothers and sisters?
Pardon?
That's from having a large number of brothers and sisters?
Well, my little boy, his motto in school was, let me win. But if I can't win, let me be brave in trying. That's what I learned from his school. He's a little Down syndrome boy. But he wasn't, he progressed. He wasn't. But some of them children excel. He was a precious little boy. He could dance. Do you remember the twist? The lady, the fellow that taught him, says, I'd put him up against anybody. He did it better than anybody I've ever seen. So.
No, did he live at home with you?
No, we put him in Enid.
Yeah.
When we found out he was disturbed, we had joined a club with boys like my little boy. And they kept saying, you need to put him in a school somewhere with kids his IQ. So, and the lady that told us that her boy was at Enid said he's doing fine. When we put him up there, we didn't say a week. We came home and cried. They said, you can't see him for 6 weeks. He has to adjust. We understood. I did. In 6 weeks, we went back to pick him up. Oh, he was happy as he could be. He didn't care whether he saw us or not. He didn't want to come home. He was having fun. He learned where to school. He learned to tie his shoes, button his shirt, use his table manners. He knew where his clothes were. He could dress himself. He progressed fine. We were happy. We were happy. He was happy. And you know what the unique thing is? He died at 62, like his daddy, and with the same problem, sudden heart attack. He was a precious little boy.
So do you have a philosophy you live by in life, a motto?
Well, what does it go? Do all you can for as long as you can. I think positive. I think what you think is who you are. As a man thinketh, so is he. I'm not lazy. I like to be busy. I learned that from my little kids in school. I taught the first graders. If I could keep them busy, the room was happy. But you let them. Now, no, it's different today. It's different today. I wouldn't teach school now under no circumstances. However, they didn't. I think that teaching them by sight only lasted about. As long as I was in school, it was that way. That's why I had to quit. I don't believe in. I wasn't worthy. I wasn't producing what I should have been, and I thought next to be just taking money under false pretense. Not exactly, but.
Well, what do you think is the secret to your longevity? What's contributed to your long life?
Having lived on the farm, where we had everything under the sun to eat, good, healthy food. They say, I'm eating the same food today, but it isn't healthy because it's been fertilized, and the fertilizer is not good for you, not good for the plants. We just dug a hole, planted the food, planted the vegetables, and it rained enough to make the garden. We didn't have to water. Today you water, but then you didn't. It was just different. The whole world was different. It rained. It made our crops. I have children. I have a step family in Purcell now. I have over 1,000 acres. They're on a ranch, and is that thing still on?
That's fine, though. That's pretty good.
They have a ranch. A lot. I've been over the ranch because the granddaughter took me one day over the ranch. I didn't know about ranching, but it's interesting, very interesting.
It is.
And if it don't rain, see, we're in a drought now. If it don't rain, they don't have green grass for the cows. They can't bale it. They bale the hay. They fertilize some of the grass, and if it don't rain, they're not going to have any grass. Back in my days, it rained. The whole world was different.
Yes. And you canned your own food and cooked. And
Yes,
beef
in
and
the
stuff.
wintertime we had plenty of beef. We had cattle. What Daddy would, as he says, fatten out the calf. We're going to butcher it a certain time. There was no electricity. We had to either eat it or can it. So we rented a big canner from the county. It's owned by the county, to be loaned out if we needed anybody that needed it. So we brought it home. Mama canned. We had all the beef we could eat for about 2 or 3 weeks, and it was as long as it would last because it was in the wintertime and it was cold. It would keep a while, and then she would can the short ribs, different parts. And in the summertime, when we ran out of beef or pork, we could make stew out of the canned meat. We said with our vegetables, we had stew because we had a little patch of popcorn that we could have all, and the things have been grown differently. Then we just planted it, no fertilizer, no water. We just chopped the weeds away to keep the weeds from taking the water, moisture that was in the ground. So things grew. They don't today. You have to water them. You see, sprinklers.
You had popcorn?
Oh yeah, we had popcorn,
Cool.
peanuts. We had everything. We made our own syrup. Some of the best syrup you ever ate. Thank you, sweetheart.
Pecans. Those grow pretty well down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Behind the barn, there was 2 big pecan trees. So Mama had all nuts she wanted to cook with. Pecans.
rented counters from the county. Was home demonstration county agents and things?
Yes, yes.
Was your mother a member of the Homemaker Club?
No,
No. Didn't have time.
no, baby, she was always having babies. I can never remember my mama not being pregnant. Well, every other year.
Did she have time to sew?
Yes, when we were little, she made my dresses and my bloomers to match.
Oh.
She
I-
was always buying 3 yards of material that would make me a dress and my bloomers to match.
And that was in Idabel or Blue?
No, not in Idabel, because when I was in the 7th, 8th grade, I decided I wouldn't wear Mama's homemade dresses anymore. If Daddy couldn't buy me one, I would just not, I don't know. I didn't want her making me dresses and bloomers to match. I was growing up.
And didn't wear pants too often, I bet.
Oh, no. No, not even when I worked at Tinkerville. They didn't wear pants. No, I had to dress up. Comb my hair. I mean, you have to primp. Yes.
And nylons. Nylons. Well, is there anything left on your bucket list that you would like to do?
No.
No?
If they had I wouldn't mind going to school again. You know what? If they had a school here, if I could go, I can't get out. I can't stand up. I can't balance. And I lose this, I'll fall. I'd like to take a course in science of the mind.
Interesting.
Get as much out of it as I could
Sure.
for as long as I live.
Well, how early do you get up these days?
I don't have a sleep pattern.
No.
I don't go to bed and sleep 8 hours a night and wake up at a certain hour. I don't go to bed at a certain hour. I don't get up at a certain hour. It's just, here you can do as you please. Nothing I have to get up for. When I first came here, I was 89, and I could run up and down the halls. I didn't have this. I had a cane, but I was not on this.
I want to know, when history is written, what do you want it to say about you?
She had a normal life, or above, a teeny bit above normal. A normal life is being yourself. I've never tried to be like somebody else. If you do, you're going to mess up. You sure will. You sure will. If somebody has something I don't, that's his, it's not mine. I'm not jealous. I'd like to do the same as I don't.
That's fine.
That's good.
Well, we'll stop now, and I'll thank you very much for talking with us today.
Thank you, hon.
It's been fun.